Welcome back to Beer Brackets, everybody. This is a very historic review, our first review ever on the Beer Brackets channel. That's for this particular beer. Buddy, today we are revisiting ABT12 just in time for ABT12 Day. We had to do it. If you go back and watch that first review ever that was filmed a little over 2 years ago, we were a little rough around the edges. Alessandro, how's it going?
It's going great, man. How you doing, Joe?
It was one of the first things we did on YouTube. Right. And so I think we talked for like almost 40 minutes just gushing about this beer. But it deserved it. It deserved the gushing.
It certainly did. It's quite the beer that we're having again all together here on the channel tonight.
Exactly. So we thought in honor of ABT12 Day, we'd want to revisit this beer. And 2 years later, sort of close our ABT12 beer bracket, so to speak, re-review it and see if it still holds up as a perfect beer. 2 years later. We've been on this beer journey for 2 years. We've tasted so many other beers, my friend. We've had so many beer experiences. Our palates have grown and evolved and developed. And now we're going to see if it still stands up as a perfect beer. Be exciting. So for anybody who doesn't know, St.Bernardus here, the ABT12 has been brewed since 1946. It's the flagship beer, my friend, of St.Bernardus, this particular brewery here, making up more than actually half of their total output, which is really impressive. Their beers are made using what they say is a slightly salty but soft water originating from the wells beneath, nearby to the location here where the beer is brewed over in Poitou, Belgium. So that slight saltiness in the water actually gives it a little bit of its distinguishing character. It's a little bit darker than the standard quad of what you might be used to, and apparently this is due to them roasting the caramel malts a little longer than usual, than some of their peers, giving it this darker appearance here that you see. You know a little bit about the origins of this brewery. Before we crack open these beers, and I'm salivating, man, I need to crack this open. What can we tell people about the history of St.Bernardus? Because it's an interesting one for sure.
It definitely is, and it's tied into with another beer legend for a lot of beer drinkers, beer explorers. Initially, St.Bernardus used to brew their beers for the Abbey of West Lateran, which is one of the Trappist abbeys that still is in existence. But at a certain point during the history, I want to say it was like towards the end of the 80s, beginning of the 90s, yes. The West Lateran Brewery decided, also because of all the newer regulations, to move on the production back into their abbey. So like we've known and we've talked about in other episodes, in order to be and maintain, the certain Trappist certification, there has to be some requirements, and one of them is to brew on the abbey. So they decided to. Yeah. Exactly. So they decided to kind of stop allowing the St.Bernardus Brewery to brew for them. And it's interesting enough because if you go back enough, also you just Google, there are some labels of the St.Bernardus Brewery that still says West Lateran on.
Really?
Yeah. So if you Google, it's funny. It's almost the same graphic. It just has a slightly different, he's not a monk, he's a wizard. We've determined that.
But at the time, iteration of a wizard. On
exactly.
The
at the time, it was a monk on the label because they were brewing for the monks. When they stopped allowing, or the contract, let's say, their concession expired, they still had all of the yeast. That was the original one from the West Lateran. So they still say that they're using that same yeast. So, the West Lateran 12 is kind of like a legend in the beer world.
It really is, exactly.
Very difficult to get your hands on because they only sell it there. You're not supposed to resell it. So it's, this can be like a distant cousin or maybe, who knows, like brother, That's
it. Their 12 is considered to be one of the best beers in the world, one of the rarest beers, the hardest beers to get your hand on, and so is the St.Bernardus ABT12. Fun fact, ABT is actually short for abbot, which is the high priest of the monastery. So this is a title normally given to the beer with the highest alcohol percentage coming out of that brewery. You know what I'm noticing? Because I have the new branding on my bottle over here,
that's
right?
so cool,
yeah. The other one. I was hoping to get a winking monk. we have an episode, please, if you haven't seen this, go back and watch The Legend of the Winking Monk. 1 out of every 1,000 bottles of ABT12 has a winking monk on it. And I was scouring through the beer shelves, my friend. I went to 2 different LCBOs and I was looking through shelves of monks trying to find a winking monk, and I couldn't. And I don't think, oh my God.
I'm not sure. Like, I always look before.
How did you not tell me about this? You found a winking monk?
I swear it was not winking before. Dude, look.
Oh my God.
He's
this is
winking.
Just perfect. This is the perfect closing of the ABT12 beer brackets. It's all coming together 2 years later. We have a 1 in 1,000 winking monk bottle. I'm curious to see, do you think it's going to taste different than the non-winking monk?
I'm pretty sure it is going to be, my friend. And it's see, the wizard is winking at us. He likes what we're doing.
Let's do this, my friend. Let's drink these delicious beers. We've been waiting long enough.
It is time.
I'm going to prop up this beer cap over here, right on Mosher's book.
The winking monk beer cap went in with all the others.
Oh, that's the most epic beer cap addition to that box ever.
It is, my friend.
Oh my God. That actually completes it. Like, we could retire that box today. And the fact that it has a winking monk cap in it right now, that's unbelievable.
I can't believe it. It's crazy.
I don't know how you didn't notice that before.
I swear it was not winking before, man. Like, I always look for those. I don't know what happened. It must be the wizards.
So this comes in at a hefty 10% ABV. So drink responsibly. Be careful with the ABT12s. They sneak up on you. Oh my God, that aroma. Cheers, my friend. Aroma, cheers.
To you. Aroma,
Let
cheers.
me know. What does the winking monk aroma smell like? Is it still a 3-on-3?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Oh God, this beer. Work of art.
I think it's been like quite a while. I think it's since our Ultimate VS battle that I haven't had like this one here. And wow, I'm always so shocked. It has those beautiful roasted characteristics, those caramel, prunes, figs. Like, it's so complex. Like, but yes, oh my God, yeah. If this is not a 3-on-3. And it's a winking beer, so yes. At 3.5, no, we can't get that.
Still, I mean, that's exactly it. Caramel, dark fruit, dark roasted malts all together in a perfect little well-balanced package. It's not overwhelming. It's not light at all. It's present. You can smell it. This is a 3-on-3 aroma. I always say a 3-on-3 aroma makes you salivate. It makes you die to want to go in and take a sip, which we are going to do right now. Cheers, buddy. Enjoy.
Cheers, my friend.
Oh, that first sip of an ABT12.
It's magical.
Nothing like it.
And this really is like it obviously can be drank like year round. It's delicious, but especially wintertime. I feel
my God. Yeah.
Wintertime, just like a warm blanket, like, tells you everything is fine.
You light a beer fire. You sit by the beer fire with a good book or watching your favorite show. Or with some good company, crack an ABT12. Oh, nothing better. That's like drinking a good scotch.
It really is, my friend. It really is.
It's the beer equivalent of a scotch.
Oh my goodness. Like, the taste, like, again, like so complex. Like, all those notes that you had on the aroma, they're still there. Almost somehow like they explode and amplify even more on the palate.
Yeah.
Like, it's without being, a lot of times, like, when those beers with higher alcohol percentage, and I know that goes a little bit into the mouthfeel, but it doesn't feel heavy at all. Like, it just has like this very nice balance of the flavors. It's so well done. I'm sticking with a 3, my friend. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I think this goes a little bit onto the finish, but you're absolutely right. With a beer that's 10% alcohol like this, you expect to at least taste like a little bit, like that ethanol-y taste on the beer slightly. You don't get that at all with this. It's just a very light, very gentle, soft, pillowy. Everything you get on the aroma, you get on the taste. Dark fruit, those dark roasted caramel malts. It's just unbelievably delicious, but it's not too strong. It's just perfect. It's just the perfect right amount of taste to tickle your fancy without being overwhelming. It is still a perfect taste. 3-on-3. Now for the mouthfeel, my friend, we must refresh our beautiful ABT12s. I left a little bit here. And you were the one that always told me this. I always found it funny, the little bit of yeast that remains at the bottom of the bottle. You got to swirl it around.
Yes, and get all of the goodness, the
Get
the West
yeasty
Latier and
flavor.
original yeast.
And those yeast that were stolen from the West Latier. He took them. He put the yeast in an ancient leather briefcase and ran from the abbey over to what was going to become the site of St. Bernardus and started brewing the beer.
I can imagine that run. He was probably, running for his life. Go!
Get the yeast, go! He probably had a couple of ABT12s at that point too. So,
for sure.
Running across those Belgian hills.
Yeah, that's when he thought it was a good idea after a couple of these. It's like, ooh, yeah, let's do it.
Take it and run. I'm sure it was much more respectful than that, but we like to imagine. We like to create beer legends.
Of course. It's that's part of the fun, especially when you're drinking the ABT12. Like, it enhances the experience.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness! Like the mouthfeel is so incredible. For so many reasons. Like I said, it doesn't feel heavy at all considering the alcohol percentage.
No.
But that carbonation is really, every time I go back to it, I always forget how well done it is. Like, it's so fine bubbles, still very carbonated.
Yeah.
Very light on the palate. It elevates everything, keeping it very refreshing without getting into the finish. Like, it keeps it kind of like a clean experience on the palate. Like, it really is. Yeah, still 3 on 3, my friend. Like, I can't find anything to point out.
Yeah, sometimes with these 10% plus ABV beers, like, there's an oiliness to it sometimes, like a thickness to the body of the beer, but this you don't get at all. It's really light, very sharp, crisp carbonation on it. It's the perfect beer mouthfeel. I think if I had this mouthfeel with a lager, I'd be happy with it. And the fact that it's this really dark, roasty quad like this is just unbelievable. It's a 3 on 3 mouthfeel, man. Now, the finish is probably one of the most interesting parts about this beer. So what do you think? Does it keep the perfect rating?
Before I tell you about the finish, I just want to confirm he's still winking. So it's I'd like to double check.
We're imagining this whole thing?
No, he's still there. He's still winking. He's playing tricks on me. I know it.
I wonder if the wizard had anything to do with this.
I don't know. There's some forces here. But anyway, the finish, my friend. We kind of like I don't know if you noticed, but we're both, I think, drawn to talk about the finish.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's where really all the elements come together. And I think in particular, the evolution of this beer is something spectacular because it has all the elements that you had on the taste. Mm-hmm. But they evolve in a very gentle way to initially, being a little bit more strong and then slowly dissipate and really fade in the distance very gently. And that's so well done. So well done. So yeah, I got to stick with the 3 on 3 here. There's no flaws in my opinion.
No flaws at all. What I love about the finish, I think you get a little bit of the alcohol in the finish, but not too much. But you feel the pungency of the beer on the finish a little bit. Definitely very malty on the finish. Little hints of the caramel, of the dark fruit. What I like about this beer, normally this might be a little bit of a detractor. I think it was a bit of a detractor when we were reviewing the Sierra Nevada that there were no surprises. And we were like, oh, I'd really love if there was a surprise in this beer. There's no surprises in this beer, but I think that's the appeal of it because it's such a dark, high alcohol beer. The fact that it's consistent all the way through from the aroma all the way to the finish, the descriptors are the same and they're all just equally balanced all the way through and consistent all the way through. It just makes it such a pleasant beer experience. And so it's a 3 on 3 finish. It's present, you taste it, but it doesn't linger. It doesn't last too long for a 10% beer and you can go right back in and take another sip, which makes it dangerous. So far, perfect scores all the way through. Now, my friend, the overall beer experience, you're giving it a 1, right?
I'm gonna have to because the beer is tricking me. The fact that it's winking, maybe it's because I'm imagining it, but it makes it taste even better. It's like the first time I taste the St.Bernardus almost. It's really like rediscovering in a way because I haven't had it in such a long time. Maybe obviously it's part of it is that we're both very attached to this beer, that we both like it, and having it together here on the channel for sure, like it's also a factor to keep into consideration.
Absolutely.
But regardless, even thinking about all these other beers that we've had in similar categories, just like you said very perfectly, this beer, it's so well done from the beginning to end, and it doesn't have like maybe like extreme surprises, but it just like all goes consistent and slowly fading away with a very gentle and pleasant, wave that takes you on this journey. So it's just like amazing, absolutely amazing. I'm sticking with the 3-on-3, my friend.
The first time I had this beer a couple of years ago, visiting you in Florida,
yes,
and we stopped in at a Total Wine, and you're like, look, my friend, look, there's this beer you have to try. And you got one bottle of it, and you're like, we're going to try this beer tonight. We're going to sit at the kitchen table, and we're going to try this beer, and you have to try this. And I remember we sat down after a long day of beer exploring late at night, and we sat at the table, and you cracked open the ABT12, and we shared it. We partaked in it together. Poured out half a glass into my glass, half a glass into yours, half a bottle into yours. And I remember taking the first sip and just being blown away. And it was, from the moment I first tasted it, a 3-on-3 beer experience. And it still is to this day. It still gives me that same feeling of wow every time I take a sip of it. And so it remains a perfect beer 2 years later. Hopefully we did it justice redoing this review.
Let's hope so. It seems like the wizards are happy. They're still winking.
Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. Hopefully you followed along and watched along with your own ABT12 to maximize this beer review experience. By the way, we are having, in honor of ABT12 Day, a 10% discount in our merch store. So use the code ABT12 at beerbrackets.com. Anything on the merch store, get 10% off for a limited time. So go check it out and make use of that. Have your own ABT12 and celebrate along with us. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers. And don't forget to close your ABT12 beer brackets.
Never forget.